Hello students, I welcome you all to my YouTube channel Akifa's Commerce Classes. So in today's class we'll study about Standard 12th Business Study chapter number 1, that is Nature and Significance of Management. And in today's session the topic that I will be covering is Functions of Management. Now the functions of management is broadly classified into 5 functions. The first one is planning, organizing, staffing, directing and controlling. Now these are the 5 functions of management, and it is very important that these functions are performed in a sequence. It means that it should start with planning, organizing, staffing, directing and then controlling. It has to be performed in this particular sequential order. So in today's class I will explain to you all these functions in detail. So let's start with the planning function. Now students, we have to remember that planning is the first function of the management, and planning aims to identify what to do and how to do. Okay, so it basically tries to find ways through which we can complete our goals and objectives. Now we know that every organization has a certain goal or a certain objective that it strives to achieve. So planning is basically arranging all your resources in such a way that your goals can be accomplished effectively and efficiently. Now planning seeks to bridge the gap between where we are and where we want to reach. So in simple words, what is planning? So planning is about thinking about the future. So planning is important because it provides a direction to us. So planning basically provides us direction and it guides us in which way we need to channelize our activities so that we can achieve our goals in an effective and an efficient manner. Now what happens is sometimes there could be a difference between the actual performance and the target that we had set. Like for example, if I have a company ABC Limited, now the target that I had set was to sell 10,000 products in the month of September. Now after September I calculated and I managed to sell only 8,000 products. Now there is a difference between my actual performance and the target that I had set. Now this difference is the uncertainty. Now it is very important that we be prepared for the uncertainties. As I said earlier, that future is unpredictable. Now when I say this at one side, it doesn't mean that we should not plan. We should plan because through planning, though we cannot see the uncertainties that are coming in the way, but we can anticipate them in a better way through planning. So planning is a very important function of management, which basically means seeing the future. So planning is the function which helps us in seeing ahead. And that's why planning is the first and the most important function of management. So let's start with our second function, that is the function of organizing. Now we have to remember that only after we have planned we can move to organizing function. So planning is the first function and organizing is the second function. Now after we have decided about the objectives and the goals that we need to achieve, the next step is to organize all the activities that will help us in reaching to our goal or the objectives in an effective and an efficient manner. So organizing means arranging all the activities in such a way that it helps us to get closer to our objectives. We also have to remember that organizing works on the principle that says place for everything and everything at its place. I will give you all a very simple example. Now consider that there are 2 students, student A and student B. So let's start with student A. Now student A is a very obedient and a very sincere student, and he or she has the habit of studying at the study table. So he has the habit of arranging all his books in a particular manner. So now for example, if he requires his maths book, now he exactly knows where he will find it because he has the habit of keeping all the books in a very nice manner. Now second example, let's take of student B. Now this student B is a little messier. So what he does it, wherever he sits, he keeps the book there and there. Like for example, if he's sitting at the study table, he keeps the book there. If he's sitting at the hall, he keeps the book in the hall. If he's sitting in the bedroom, he keeps it in the bedroom. Now what happens if tomorrow he wants a book, for example maths book. Now it becomes very difficult for him to find where exactly he kept it. So this is what organizing means. So if student B would have organized his bookshelf in a very nice manner, he would not end up wasting time in searching for the maths book. So similarly into an organization also, it is very important that you organize all your things very effectively so that you can achieve your goal in an easier way. Because when things are not organized in an organization, it creates a confusion, and due to confusion it creates a lot of mess and chaos around the workplace, due to which what happens is it only hampers the production and when the production is hampered, you end up producing less products, and due to less products you end up selling lesser products into the market, and indirectly it affects your profit. So that is why it is always important to be organized, because being organized always is a helpful way in achieving your goals very effectively and efficiently. So moving forward to our third function, that is the function of staffing. Now after planning, organizing, the next function is staffing. We start with staffing. We have to remember that staffing is the third function of management. The functions start with planning, organizing, and then go to staffing. So once we have made a plan wherein we have decided about our objectives and the goals we need to achieve, and in organizing function we have also organized different activities through which we can reach to our goal, the next step that we need to take is to find staff. So what is staffing? Staffing basically means filling all the vacant positions in the organizations. Now it does not only mean that if there are vacancies in the organizations we need to only fill it. So staffing basically means recruiting and maintaining your staff. Okay, now by maintaining, it means that you have to see to it that your employees are retaining into your organization. Now when will your employees retain in your organization and not move into your competitors' organization? It could be when you provide them with good salary, when you pay them on time, or you provide them with good working environment, good welfare facilities, and so on. So for staffing, it basically means that you need to recruit people into your organization. So after recruiting, you also have to provide them training. Now we have to remember that training is an expenditure which is borne by the employer. Okay, so this training should not be considered as an expenditure in the long run, because what happens is, if you are giving training to an employee, that training after that employee, after being trained, will come to your organization and it will be beneficial for your organization in the long run. So any amount of money that you spend on training of your employees, it should be considered as an asset in the near future. So this is about staffing. One more thing we need to remember is that staffing works on the principle that says right person for the right job. It means that you have to fill your vacancies with the right person. Like for example, if I have a restaurant and I am looking for a cook, so I will definitely look for a person who has past experience in cooking. I will not opt for a person who has a past experience maybe as a cashier or as a receptionist, because this is something that my job profile does not want. I want somebody who can cook for my restaurant. So that's why it is rightly said that staffing means right person for the right job. So this is about the third function, that is staffing. So moving forward to the fourth function, that is directing. So directing is the fourth function of management. As I said, it starts with planning, organizing, staffing, and then directing. Now it is important that we need to direct our employees. Okay, as in the third function we have filled in the vacancies that are there. Okay, so now what happens is that it is also important that you lead these employees or you guide them. So directing basically involves leading, guiding, motivating, and inspiring your employees to work towards the common goal. Now what happens is, when a particular employee joins the organization, that employee is not aware about what are the goals of the company. So it is a duty of the manager to direct all these employees towards a common direction. It means he has to motivate the employees so that they can perform their best in order to achieve the goals. Now directing is a continuous activity. It goes on continuing till the organization is running. And directing is an activity that presents at all levels of management, be it top level, middle level, or the low level. Now I will give you all certain examples of directing. Like firstly, if a teacher is directing a student how to complete a particular project, it involves directing. Secondly, if a film director is directing the cast how to perform in a particular scene, that also involves directing. Or if an event manager, he is giving direction to his employees about how to organize a function, that is also directing. So what is directing? Directing in simple words is leading all the employees so that you can achieve the objectives that you have set. We have to remember that the objectives are set at the planning function. So in directing, what is the function of the manager? The function of the manager is to see to it that the goals that were decided in the planning functions are achieved. So for that purpose, he has to lead, motivate, and guide all the employees towards the particular goal. So this is all about directing. So let's move on to our next function, that is the function of controlling. So let's start with controlling. So controlling, it means ensuring that all the plans that we have set in all these following functions have been accomplished or not. So controlling basically means looking back. looking back at all the activities that we have performed and seeing to it whether the target that we had set or the objective that we decided is actually met or no. Like for example, as I said earlier, that if I have a company and my aim was to sell 10,000 products, but I managed to sell only 8,000 products. So there is a difference between 10,000 and 8,000, that is 2,000. So this 2,000 is my deviation or the difference. So in controlling, we'll try to learn the reason behind this deviation. You have to see why this particular deviation or this particular differences has occurred. And after you know the reason behind it, you have to plan again for the future and see to it that whatever mistakes you did in the past are not repeated in the future. So planning and controlling, they have a relationship amongst each other, because it is said that planning is forward looking. It means when you plan for the future, and controlling is actually backward looking, because you look at all the past activities that have occurred and you try to compare your plans with the actual performance. As I said, controlling is basically differentiating between your actual performance and the target that you had set. So if there are any differences between actual performance and between the target, it means these are the deviations or these are the differences. So you have to kind of make attempts to see to it that these deviations do not occur in the future. So whenever you plan in the future, you see to it that these deviations or these mistakes that you made in this particular thing is not repeated in the future. So controlling basically means to rectify your mistakes and see that these mistakes are not repeated in the near future. So these were all the 5 functions of management. So we have to remember that these functions of management need to be performed in a sequential order. That is, it starts with planning, organizing, staffing, directing and controlling. So this was all for today's session. I hope that you all have understood my explanation. If there are any queries, suggestions or any feedbacks, please put it down in the comment section, and also subscribe to my channel and share it with all your friends and relatives. Thank you.